If you are familiar with Nigerian universities or polytechnics, you must have heard of the Pirates, Buccaneers, Black Axe, Vikings, or Double. These are some of the most famous confraternities or cult gangs in our universities and polytechnics. Much have been said, written, and debated about their influence on young Nigerians in higher institutions of learning. Patrick Maidoh's book, The Protagonist, takes the issue of cult gangs head-on. I sat with him to review the book and chat about related things. Patrick, thank you for joining us on the channel's book club.
Thank you, Kunle, for having me.
Nice to have you. The Protagonist, congrats on your book.
Thank you.
A Tale of Two Halves. The theme is about cultism.
Yes.
Is that correct? Gangsterism, rather.
Yes, it's about gang culture.
Among young people?
Amongst the youths, especially in the university. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me a bit about your motivation for writing. What's the story behind the book?
I went to the university in Nigeria. Actually, I graduated from the Bender State University, now Edo State University, Ekpoma. That used to be a hot area for gangs and gang culture. And if you had schooled in the university, if you've been in the university in the 80s, 90s, and to date, you would have been affected in one way or the other with regards to gang culture or secret cultism, as we want to call them, or confraternities, as sometimes we know them as. So it's always there in the public domain. Okay, and I just felt that, and from also things I've heard from friends or from relatives of how it's gone into such a beast and spreading its tentacles into the society, I just felt, come on, that we cry for change. Change is not just for governments, change in the government, but we need to change our lifestyle or how we see the youth. We need to change our youths. We need to help them make the right decisions in life. Yeah. So
Okay.
So that really pushed me and motivated me to not just write the book, but for me to make sure that I completed it.
Okay, without giving too much away,
Yeah.
for the sake of somebody who is out there, who is curious out there, tell us about this book. Summarize it. What's the story?
Okay, I'll give you a quick synopsis of the book. It's a narrative that takes you on a journey. It tells a story of the life of the protagonist himself, Raymond Okadike, known as Remy, or Remillion to some of his friends. And it just shows you how a young, naive, sometimes mischievous, gregarious young man went from being all those lovely characteristics you'll find in young children growing up. He went from all that into becoming one of the most feared men in the history of university gangs, rather. And again, the story takes you on the twists and turns of this Remy's life, and it gives you a synopsis or an overview that life is not a straight line. Life will take you towards different corners, different twists and turns. The book also talks about salvation. It talks about redemption. And also, most importantly, it talks about what I call it talks about second chance in life. How a young man could take his life that was terrible and turn it around, and now become a minister of God, so to speak. So all is just saying, what the book is trying to portray is it's not glamorizing gangs or secret cults. So what it's doing, it's telling a story, a very vivid story, okay, but also talking about a second chance and redemption as well.
You said it's a true story.
It's got true life events.
Yeah, you've got, you said here that it is, in this tight and fast-paced novel, Patrick gives the reader an examination of the phenomenon of cult gangs in the Nigerian education system based on a true story.
Yes.
The Protagonist, A Tale of Two Halves, follows the path of Remy.
Yes.
So, Remy, the character Remy, when I was reading it, I was wondering, is Remy Patrick? Is it your story?
Okay. Again, I would forgive you and other people who think that this is an autobiography. I wrote the book in such a way, in a first-person narrative. And the reason why I did that was, one, to make it easy for me to write. And secondly, I wanted to create this debate we were having for people to say, is it an autobiography? Is it fiction? Is it a real life? Is it a combination? Or is it just mere embellishment? And I think at times that would, and it's good for us to have the debate, because at the end of the day, it gives publicity to the book. But I think it's going to detract from the message. Okay, because the message is very poignant and very concise. It's there to talk about the issue we have with regards to gangs in our universities and are now spreading into the society. What I would say to people out there, or people who are thinking, is this an autobiography? Remy's story, or this book, it's not a one-man's story. Totally wrong. It's not a one-man story. If someone was to pick up the book and they can relate to Remy's life, be it primary school, secondary school, university, it now becomes your story. Okay? So if it's an autobiography, no, it's not. So that's not totally correct. But again, I would have a few of my life experiences in the book as well, and also friends and people I've known in the past.
The few experiences you just mentioned now, do they include, were you in the cult? Because I mean, for you to have, the way you described the characters involved, especially Remy, gave me, the reader, an impression that you either experienced cultism directly when you were in school, or you did a lot of research to dig into the mindset of the average cultist. It didn't read like, to me, like the author was just like the rest of us who had friends who were in the cults, and just had, you dug into the psychology of the cultists. Okay. Yeah. So I was thinking to myself, either you were one, or you did a lot of research.
Okay. I would say, to answer the question, I would say for me, growing up in the type of university I grew up in, where it was almost mayhem on a daily basis with regards to the secret cult activities. I would say it's to someone else, it might be something very descriptive, but to someone who went to the type of university I went to, it's something that's in the public domain. Okay, so I did a lot of research. Okay, I spoke to the likes of Raymond Okadike. I took experiences that I've seen around as well, and based on that, I was able to embellish as much as I could, and then produce a book for that would be captivating. What I wanted to do was write something not just captivating, but compelling. I didn't want to put anything out there that would struggle to hold your attention, hence the book.
Now, how bad is this cultism problem?
Have you got 2 days? Have you got 2 days for me to go through? And again, you can see I have a passion for this, and I'll tell you, the last radio station I went to, not the last, I went on a radio station and they asked me a question: what is the solution to this? Does your book give us a solution, or is it just pointing us to the problem? And I said, you know what? There is no box standard solution. Okay, there's no best-in-class solution that we can bring out there and say this will solve the issue of secret cultism or gangs, like I would like to refer them to. And the reason being that because we've allowed it fester for too long, Nigeria is such a society where if we don't know about it, it becomes a mute point for us. We don't discuss it. We don't do anything about it. Oh, it's secret. No, just let them be. So it's grown into a beast, okay? And you can imagine a beast that's now spreading its tentacles outside into the society. So I'm thinking, how do we stop a beast? We need to go to the supply chain or its source of supply, okay, and cut it off. So the beast becomes weaker and weaker by the day until it dies. So where's the supply chain? I think people make the mistake to think that secret cultism or gangs starts when you get into the university. Oh no, it starts in secondary schools, okay? So when you start thinking about it, so you don't have to physically have joined, you're already contemplating it. That's where we need to focus our attention at.
Secondary schools.
Secondary schools. We need to go to the supply chain and start to I think we need to start to help the next generation make the right choices in life, because you are a product of the choices you make. You make the wrong choice, you end up a different way. You make the right choices, you end up a different way. So we need to get in there, help the young generation to make the right choices in life. Also, we need to start giving them relevance and affirmation so that when they get into the university, they don't find their relevance in the gangs, because they've already found their relevance somewhere else.